Welcome back to the Owner Seat podcast, where we talk about what's actually happening in fitness, wellness, recovery, and longevity, and what it means for growth, margins, and survival. Today's guest is Bob Thomas, and this conversation matters because the fitness industry is colliding with medicine in real time. You got to think about it. GLP-1s, peptides, hormone optimization, telehealth, and outcome-based longevity are no longer future talk. You know this. They're here. They're here now, and operators are either building the bridge or getting disrupted by it. Bob's the CEO and founder of NextGen MD Scientific, a wholesale supplier serving healthcare providers with hormone solutions built around quality control, compliance, and trust, including a DEA compliant facility and rigorous standards. You got to check it out. He's also behind NextGen ND 360, a doctor supervised weight management program coordinating with clinics across the U.S., built around medication, nutrition, education. You got to think about the whole ecosystem in this world, and I love it. They're doing it. Bob isn't new to building in hard environments. He's a 40-plus year fitness operator. We call him the vet. You know him. He's the founder of a West Coast club chain in the 80s and 90s, and you've heard of this name. He's also helped lead Lifetime. Lifetime's growth, you probably recognize the background. Lifetime's growth plan from 6 clubs to over 120 locations in the sales, revenue, and operation world as their executive. So good. So today, we're going direct and operator grade and talking about what's real in GLP-1s, peptides, and HRT, and what's going on in that world, the supply chain behind longevity meds, the quality, compliance, fulfillment. This isn't easy. Bob will tell you why gyms are becoming longevity centers and what business models actually work. My favorite. We're going to tap on that quite a bit. How to partner with medicine without torching trust, margin, or your brand. And finally, the coming wave. You've seen the injections, the pills are coming, the GLP-1 pills, hyper personalization, and what that does to acquisition and retention, your dues tap. Bob, I know that was a lot, but you're up to some amazing things. Welcome to the Owner Seat podcast, sir.
Thanks, Albert. Pleasure.
So
Thanks for
good.
having me on your podcast. This is great. Go ahead,
Oh,
brother.
people are going to love this because we're seeing it everywhere. We see it on the ads. I'm looking at one right now. They just had a pickleball match, but in between time, we're seeing some GLP-1s. Peptides are just all over. We got a couple of docs that are active on LinkedIn. You've promoted some like Arvin. Amazing. I love Doc. He's doing some great work, great education, by the way. But you got your hands everywhere, and you're really supporting this revolution that's occurring. And you have like I mentioned, over 40 years of experience looking at fitness trends. What makes this different?
Yeah, great question. I would say this is going to be the biggest revolution that's happened in the fitness industry because, we've gone through, 40 years of different types of, products that have been introduced to our ecosystem, right? So, in the 80s, you had Group Fix coming in, you had racquetball in the 70s. You had, in the 90s, you had the gyms coming on. So you had World Gyms, Gold Gyms, Powerhouse Gyms. You had the whole gym thing go. And then you go into the 2000s, you got Lifetime Fitness with the full service, the whole family system. And then the 2000s, you had the boutiques come on, right? The 2000s and going forward. Well, now we have actually medicine and fitness that have actually collided, that we can actually have a place with the medical industry. There was never an opportunity before because we tried really hard to put wellness programs together and support it with wellness, but we could never really get the medical side 100% engaged. Now, with these drugs, with the peptides and the GLP-1s, with all the different, outcomes that they have, to help support, pre-diabetic, diabetic, heart, overall healthy, rejuvenating your organs with peptides and it's all natural. So that's the beauty of what we're actually now on the forefront. And it's so new. I mean, fortunately, I started this 4 years ago. Now we're 4 years into it. And we got some exciting stuff, but I'll let you go take on, Albert. Go ahead.
Well,
Please.
you're ahead of the curve, and I'm telling you, if for those listening, as a consumer, if you haven't heard about any of this, I'm going to say this respectfully. You've been living under a rock because it's everywhere, and it's actually generating some great results. A ton of science behind it, right? And then a lot of education around safety and doing it right. But from a business owner lens, that's where I'm finding that there's still a little bit of a disconnect, right? This is the Owner Seat podcast, so a lot of owners like to watch this, Bob. And so before we go into unit economics and how do you build this out, I'd love to just get into your experience because you've been around the block, and I say that in a really good way. You've been very successful in your career. I mean, everyone I chat with knows you. I think I was talking to, Kathleen Ferguson. So she's like, he's
100%.
the godfather. He's the godfather. I'm like, he is. I know. I love it. So when you think back at Lifetime, 6 clubs to 120, I mean, you probably learned something, a little something in partnership with BA and that
Yeah,
crew on execution and even around scaling. Like,
yeah.
do you see any issues going on still in the industry where people are just not moving past that wall around scaling, a bigger portfolio maybe?
Yeah, the one thing we've been really focused on in the last 4 years, I've really been conservative on how I've
Mhm,
scaled the organization, and you hit
mm,
some really good points about Lifetime Fitness. That was one of the beautiful things. You worked with us at Lifetime with me at Lifetime
that's right.
Fitness, so you understand how much we scaled and how it took place. Well, I've really kind of taken that model the same way. And prior to that, I scaled my own organization. But when I got with Brahm, that was the behemoth, right? I mean,
Mm,
we were able to, finance a lot of good projects that most
right.
organizations couldn't. And he had so much of foresight and an innovator of seeing what the industry was going to be like and to be able to fill those gaps. I took, that playbook, and that's what next gen is. I've really built all the verticals. So we have every vertical. We have the wholesale license, we have the GPO license, so we can supply. We own the whole supply chain. We have the pharmacies, we have the storefronts, so you can be nimble. We white label that. We have the CRM that we built. It's a multi-tenant CRM, so I can partner with gyms, and we do a rev share. So each gym gets its own CRM, and we market all day long to that. So, with all these different verticals I built, we are scaling now. I mean, it's amazing. We just had our whole team in the middle of December, and we spitballed we do have blackboards, right? So we
Yeah, yeah.
spitballed everything and put everything in our company objectives, and it's amazing how we've been able to really just have all our verticals now. So
So
we're a
good.
full service, and now we're going to do clinics. So that's the next step in our journey.
I love it. I love the ecosystem play. You're right. That's very familiar. But
Mhm.
and the thing is, this is not an easy thing. As you learned at Lifetime and now in the longevity space, in the healthcare space, it's not easy to do because there's a lot of work you have to do, including on the compliance side, but even more importantly, the people. You got to find the right people. So I've had an opportunity to meet some of your team members, and I was just blown away on how I'm telling you, they were walking around with peptide vials. I'm like, you got me hooked. Like, give me that one. I want that one. And so Matt and the entire team, they're just doing a tremendous job. So applause to you, sir, because you can't do it by yourself. And I think
Yeah.
that's probably something you've learned along the way is you got to find the best people.
Yeah, casting is so important. And the beautiful thing about that is all our team members are second and third generation team members that have worked with me over the
That's
last
right.
40 years. So their
Yeah.
parents, the grandparents, and now the team is now that second and third generation. So it's been really great because you wake up every day and we introduce these things to the team, and they got the big eyes. They go, "Oh my God, let's tackle this thing. Let's go at it." So it's really great to have the great team that we have, and be able to scale because they've seen their parents and their grandparents scale over the years, whether it was Lifetime Fitness or in my former companies I've had. So it's been a blessing for sure.
It's so cool. You guys are digging in and leaving a legacy. I love it, especially with this. This is going to leave a legacy. Now, you've been in other industries actually since Lifetime. When what popped? What was that pivot point? What was the inflection point where you said GLPs? There's something here, right? This preventative care. You saw something. What was it? Because you've been successful in other industries, and we don't need to go that route. I'd like to look at what you saw and how did you know hey, this is something I need to spend time in, maybe even spend some capital in. What
Yeah.
was it that attracted you to it?
Yeah, I'll go to the aha moment, right? So let me go back. I don't want to digress too far, but I'll go back 40 years when I got into the industry. And, it kind of goes back to that when I would sell memberships when I got on the front line. I'd sell memberships, and, some a lady or a men would come in, and they would say, "Oh, this looks great." I'd tour 'em, I'd get them all ready to sign up. And then they go, "I got to go talk to my doctor." And, I was so naive and gullible at the time. I said, "Oh, yeah, go talk to your doctor. That's great." Yeah. I'd never see him again. Then I'd call him up 10 or 15 times, and then they'd finally answer the phone and say, "My doctor said you guys are crazy and it's not good for you, and stay away from that place." And what they do is give me prescriptions, right? So from that day on, I always looked at how do we get the medical industry and the fitness industry together? So over the 40 years, we put together, like I mentioned earlier, is wellness programs and corporate wellness programs and
Right.
subsidy programs and everything we could, but we could never really get to the medical side of it. And then 4 years ago, a friend of mine, another gym partner of mine came to me with the GLP-1, and I've told you the story before, introduced
Yeah.
me to the GLP-1, and I didn't like the weight loss business. And I've shared this a lot with other podcasts as well, is that it was a corrupt business. It was all amphetamine
Mm,
driven, and it was
that's
counterintuitive to the
right.
way we believe in, right? You
Yeah.
come to our gyms, we build you a great experience. We support you with a lot of support teams, nutritionists, trainers, design programs for you. We really, and we, in the Lifetime Fitness, we put cafes in there. So it was all healthy food. We had spas so we can, get recovery. We were really the first ones to integrate recovery
Yeah.
to the fitness industry through Lifetime Fitness. Now they're full-fledged longevity and recovery clinics. But long story short, when I was introduced to this, it kind of was a aha moment. Said, wow, once I got through the science of it and seen it didn't affect the cardiac system and it wasn't
Mm,
impeding driven, and that, you know, it took a lot for me to understand the science because there wasn't a lot out there at the time. It was a diabetic drug that just got FDA approved. Like the month it got FDA approved, I got introduced to it. So I really dug in for 90 days, me and my team, and we tried to get as much information as
yeah.
possible. So we developed a full strategy after that. And that's how, next gen really, that was the aha moment. I seen that this was a
So good.
place, and it was really for the trainers. I looked at coming out of COVID,
Mm,
we got destroyed in the fitness industry with trainers, and we lost a whole
yeah.
career group. And that's where Kathleen, where I really enjoy her company is that she fills that gap, with Coach 360. And
Right.
she's been a real good partner of mine as we've been going along with the GLP-1 and getting trainers really trained in on how can we service our members? How can we integrate this? Because, you know, let's say a year and a half ago, they'd have trainers, they wouldn't even ask about GLP-1, and the customer was embarrassed to even talk about it. Now
Right.
it's mainstream. Now we're building programming around it and education around it. So it's come a long
I
way
love
real
that.
fast.
It's so good. Yeah, and I'm seeing it's kind of like not that it's even anywhere. You know how passionate I am about AI, not
Mhm.
that they're
Yeah.
anywhere near each other. However, it's very similar to that. It's a new
Mhm.
something new. It's change,
Yep.
right? And the adoption rate it was slow at first, and now on the
Yep.
consumer side, I'm seeing the adoption of GLPs and peptides. I mean, now we're talking about it like, which one are you on? Like, I wanna be on
Right.
that. You look great. You're feeling great. What are you taking? And so that's exciting. Where I'm finding still an adoption gap, however, is
Mhm.
the operator, the owner. And many people listening to this are
Mhm.
franchise owners, franchisors, right? Studio fitness wellness owners. What are you hearing out there when there just seems to be still a lot of emotion when it comes to GLPs? And it's almost like a 50-50.
Yeah.
50% because they're reading, they're listening to Tia or Huberman or listening to some
Yep.
of your podcasts that you're on. They're catching on. They say, hey, it's great science and you build, a great program around it. I love what you're talking about around the trainer side, the fitness professional. But then there's the other 50% that's still like, we're not touching that thing. That is
Yeah.
not hitting our community. That's not hitting our gym or our studio. What do you think it is? Where's the fear? Is it just the lack of education? What do you think it is?
Well, there's a couple of things. I would say financially, it's the first part. I would say the barrier of entry to get in to build a clinic inside a gym, inside a fitness facility is costly. I mean, it can
Right.
cost up to $1 million, right? Now you got to build the infrastructure. Now you got to build all the verticals that I built over the last 4 years to be able to service the customer because it is a drug. I mean, you're dealing in medical. So I mean, there's what's called EMRs. So we built our own EMR, we built our own technology. So everything's got to be HIPAA compliant. I mean, like you talked earlier about compliance.
Right.
I mean, we are compliant. We are heavily in the compliance arena, and we have the best legal that is out there in the medical
Yeah.
field. We have the best technology developers that have built the best EMR. Everything we own is on a HIPAA compliant platform. And these are things I had to really look at for about a year and a half. I mean, literally,
Mhm.
I did, and we've talked about this,
Yeah.
my journey. I mean, it took me a year and a half just to learn what, all the, medical side of it. And then to get a doctor that has all 50 state licenses, that's another part. Where do you find
Mhm.
that? Well, I got blessed. My chief medical director, we have all 50 state licenses. So we have that as a plus. So we're able to operate in every state in the United States. So if it's a club MSO that has clubs all over, in every market, now you got to have that oversight. And then you have to have the
Right.
clearance, and then you have to have the pharmacies and all the different things that take place out that, to build all that, that costs millions of dollars in capital. So that wall is there. But then the other side of the wall, let me go to the other side. The other
Yeah.
side is the training side. There's still 50% of trainers that are totally against it. I
Mm.
mean, they're just they haven't been able to get their arms wrapped around it and
Mhm.
really settle in and say, all right, wait a minute. I know 7 out of my 10 clients are on it anyhow. I mean, it's a fact. I mean, and I'm not overstating that. I mean, 7 out of 10 people are on some sort of GLP-1, whether it's the pill, I mean, it's brand new, the pill, but they're doing some kind of a shot, whether it be semaglutide or tirzepatide. They just are, and people, the consumers are a little bit embarrassed too. They don't want to, come clean as well as saying, "Oh, I'm having this drug and it's helping me," but the trainers on the other side have to start uncovering, and they have to
Right.
start building training protocols that are around that as well, so they can actually service their customer. Actually, the actual trainers are kind of a little bit 50-50, like you're saying. 50 are saying, "I'm not there yet." 50% are, I'd say 25%, "I'm all in," and then the other 25% are saying, "I'm on the fence."
What I love about what you all do, especially in the vertical of Next Gen MD 360, and big shout outs to your team again, is there's a lot of education. I get the SMS, I get the
Yeah.
emails, and I'm reading them all, by the way,
Yeah.
including some of those deals, right? Which I'm taking
Right.
advantage of. So, disclaimer: I am a client, but it's great. I mean, you all, you have like top of the line. I've compared, I've done my homework, and
Yeah.
so that's really cool. But the part I really enjoy, and I remember going through an actual live, well, virtual, but live
Really one.
consultation and talking
Mhm.
about my workout program, talking about my protein, because that's important too. And I think that truly is how you should do this, right? When it's there is this weight loss journey, but you want to make sure, and maybe you can chat about that, is there's this misconception that regardless of what you do, you're going to just burn muscle. And I'm talking,
Mhm.
you're not eating the right things, you're not moving or lifting the right things. Can you walk through, people start to get more inclined to jump into GLPs because they're looking to lose some weight, and sometimes it's not even the weight. They don't want to drink anymore. They want
Yeah.
to improve some of their other biomarkers and blood
Yeah.
labs. But can you walk through again how your organization actually supports on the things that allow for lean muscle as far as keeping it, right? And just feeling great while you're on this.
Yeah, good points because those are so important. And we started the journey with myself. I think my journey. I mean, I went and gained a bunch of weight, and I wanted to make sure that this drug that I was going to get involved in was the right thing for a consumer. Because it was so new. So I actually gained a bunch of weight, and then I got on the semi-glutide originally and lost 30 pounds. But I seen myself lose a lot of lean muscle tissue. And there wasn't a lot of information out there because it was a diabetic drug. Had just
Right,
become
right.
legal. So
Yeah.
I had actually really started doing a lot more research about lean muscle tissue loss. And so we started right from the beginning as a whole protein, stack that, and we built our own cookbook. So we have a cookbook and
Yeah,
we
that's right.
have our
Yeah.
own
I've
guide.
used it. Yeah.
Yeah, we have our own 30-day guide that, what you should be eating, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, how
Mm,
much protein. You really need a 1 to 1.5 grams of protein for body weight. You need to drink at least 100 ounces of water every day. There are some side effects with semaglutide, tirzepatide, not as much. Then after about
yeah.
3-4 months after I lost about 30 pounds, I got on the tirzepatide, which is just
Mhm.
your brand of Mounjaro. And then I started losing less lean muscle tissue. But that first 30, I was scared. I really become apparent that this is going too fast. I was losing
Right.
weight with lean muscle tissue. So that really sparked the whole journey of us saying, all right, no, let's put all these things in place. We brought on Dot Fit as our nutritional partner. So they actually built, they're all in one and their whey protein as part of our system. So you get that when you get involved with us. You got your protein, you have your
Mm,
your diet, your medication. But then again, you have help along the way because we have the manual too. So you have all and the cookbook. So you actually have that reinforcement and those guides that can help you. Where
excellent.
every being in the fitness industry, we bring you back into the gym too. So once you sign up and we're partners in one of our partnerships, with one of our gym partners, we bring you back in and then the trainers take over and they design a training protocol for you. So you don't lose the lean muscle tissue. So
Yeah.
Mounjaro it didn't lose as much. And that's because it's a two hormone.
Uh-huh.
The single hormone, which is the semi-glutide, you do lose, rapidly your lean muscle tissue. Where tirzepatide is a two a hormone, where red or true tide is 3, so that's a whole different, and I don't even
Right.
wanna get into that conversation because there's so much science on that. I don't wanna
Yeah.
confuse people right now, but let's stay to the 2, but yeah, you get my point,
No,
Albert.
you all have a great differentiator, right? you're building a lifestyle out of this. This isn't just a medication only type of approach. This is a lifestyle approach. And it's funny, as I was experimenting, trying to figure out, which one has less side effects, I love the tirzepatide as well. And I actually had a colleague because I was really curious about the science, the
Mhm.
slowing of the gastric
Yep.
emptying. I'm like, that's cool. Okay. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And then also, but what's going on with insulin and your
Yep.
pancreas and the
Yeah.
blood sugar. So I was like, let me put this to the test. I had a colleague who sells the what do you put on you? Those I want to say CRM, but they're not
Yeah.
CRMs, the
No,
CGMs. The
yeah. Mhm.
CGMs, right? So I
Mhm.
put a
Mhm.
CGM on
Yeah.
and well, actually prior to that, no, I put the CGM on
Yeah.
and I ate a snow cone. I'm at a T-ball
Yeah.
game. I coach my son. So I'm like, they're getting snow cones. I'm like, you know what? Let's put this to the test, right? It's on my phone. And I eat the snow cone, and I kid you not. I mean, I swear my blood sugar like that. I
Blew
mean,
up.
it's just
Yeah.
full of sugar.
Yeah.
It's just all sugar, y'all. Quit eating it. It's terrible for you. But it went up to like 300. I'm like, holy
Yeah.
smokes, this stuff is
Yeah.
powerful. No wonder my kids are just out of whack when I give it to
Yeah.
them. Okay, so then I get on the tirzepatide. I'm gonna try this again. So I throw it
Mhm.
back on. Go to that same snow cone little, it's like a little trailer they do on the fields.
Yeah.
Grab it. It would not pass 99.
No.
And I'm like, this stuff is powerful, man, because it's not just the blood sugar, it's the level of your blood sugar that then's telling your brain there's
Yes.
no insulin secretion, right?
Yes.
And so when you secrete this insulin, you're
Yeah.
storing in your fat cells, and that's
Yeah.
what's causing weight gain. So for those
Yeah.
listening, go do the research and see
Yeah.
why this is so powerful, why it has ad after ad, and why this is going to be a huge, as we're mentioning, revolution. And when you couple it with great programming and protein and movement. And we're not even talking about Atiya's four
Peptides.
deadly horse.
Mm-mm.
He talks about the four deadly horsemen in his book, Outlive. And
Yeah.
this is actually preventing or even postponing some of those things because you're not
Yeah.
drinking, you're not eating certain foods. You don't want to. That's the thing. I
No.
look at alcohol, I'm like, it's like oil, man. I don't know what
I
happened, but I'll keep injecting this because I don't need any of that stuff.
Isn't that crazy about the alcohol? Because, same here, I can't drink beer no more. I
Yeah.
mean, literally,
Doesn't
I could
taste
drink
good.
2 or 3 beers a day and, or, 3 days a week, but now I can't even taste it. I only like to taste. I don't even
Yeah.
like alcohol. I mean, it's really there's so many things that this really those side effects, let's just say,
The
but they're
good ones.
real. They're
Yeah.
good side effects.
Yeah.
So, and like you said, the glycogen and the glucose, it really manages it extremely well. And then, like you said, it turns your noise off on your brain for being hungry.
Right.
So, but you do have to eat. I mean, that's the one
Right.
thing that really
Yeah.
I wanna really put a asterisk on it. People really have to watch themselves, and you gotta follow a diet that's actually protein driven, and
Mhm.
you gotta eat the 3 meals a day, and you gotta force yourself, but don't overeat. Just, proportionate to what your grams of protein are, so you're getting, that amount of protein as well.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
moving on to
Yep.
peptides, that's another wave that is really exciting. And there seems to be a lot more variety there depending on, what you're needing, whether it's like some type of a collagen hit or feeling more energized or better sleep, growth hormone. I mean, you name it, there's a ton of peptides out there. What do you think's going on there? It seems like the demand for that, the education's there. Although there seems to also be tension on social media and the internet around like what's real, what's not. Is it
Yeah.
truly something that you naturally secrete and you're just kind of enhancing that? Can you share a little bit more about what you learned on the peptide side?
Yeah, I'll go back also to when I lost the weight too. When I went through the semaglutide experiment, series for the 3 months. I told you I lost a lot of lean muscle tissue, and I ran into a friend of mine that I had seen in years, and I told him what was happening, and he shared with me, "Have you heard about this MOTS-C?" I said, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." He goes, "Do me a favor, just go back to your pharmacy, tell them to make you MOTS-C, and you're going to be blown away what it does for you." So I went back to my pharmacist and he gave me some of the science. And what it does is it takes the place of the secondary part of this semaglutide or the Manjaro tirzepatide,
Right.
where it turns your noise off. Drill down a little bit to turn the noise off, but then you take the MOTS-C as well. And the MOTS-C, what it does is it speeds up your metabolism, which creates lean muscle tissue. So I started on that, and I'm telling you, it was amazing. And that was the first introduction to peptides. I didn't know. I knew that GLP-1 was a peptide, but
Mhm.
I didn't know anything after that. Then once I got in there, they said, "Whoa, wait a minute, this is even crazier." That got me on the journey of the peptides. I mean, literally, I brought on, most of the guys or team members. I have the doctors and the
Right.
PhDs that we have at Next Gen. We brought in some great, brilliant, research folks that are brilliant PhDs, and they really were the original groups that started in the peptide business 25 years ago, doing all the research for it. So they really got us up to speed and Next Gen up to speed. And so we started really researching the blends and what each individual peptide performs and how it really enhances, the experience that you have. And peptide is a natural, your body produces. It's an amino acid. So, I mean,
Mhm.
it's part of your protein amino acid and your body produces it. But what happens is as you age, you fall off a cliff, right? So
Right.
the whole idea is to really support your journey and to keep your, your cells, your repair cells, current. And so you're not losing lean muscle tissue, which, overall, the one thing you got to be careful is I want to really focus, put an asterisk on this as well is you don't want to lose so much weight because what happens, you lose too much weight, you go into sarcopenia. When you go into sarcopenia, you're gonna be sicker than you are when you were obese because
Mm,
now you're losing lean muscle tissue, which means you're losing bone density, which means now you're opening yourself up to infection
mm,
and all kinds of different, things that can happen,
right.
aren't good for you as well. So, but the peptides, back to the peptides, there's these peptides are amazing because in your journey, instead of being on a program for 3 to 4 to 6 months, now you have a lifestyle. Now you can have cell regeneration, and that's the whole idea. Is what's your lifespan look like?
Yeah.
What is your live span look like, and how are you?
Mm,
I went through a health scare this year, and I can say that fortunately, I would say if I wasn't on the peptides, I can't prove it, but if I wasn't on it, I think it would have been more catastrophic.
mm.
But I was able to rebound.
I had no clue.
I was supposed to be in the hospital for 4 to 6 days. I was out in 36 hours. I was supposed
Oh.
to be in recovery for 4 to 6 weeks. I was on the Katy Trail. I live downtown Dallas. I was on the
Oh,
Katy
that's
Trail
right, yeah.
in 3 days,
Is it your
walking
heart?
3 miles. I got colon cancer.
Oh my goodness. Wow, I had no clue.
Yeah, and so I had to get 6 inches of my colon cut out, and,
Wow.
yeah, I was right after the, IRSA convention.
Yeah.
Went in, they did the procedure. I was supposed to be in the hospital, like I said, for 4 to 6 days. I was out in 36 hours. The doctors never had seen nothing like it. When the pathology report came back, they had cut 6 inches out of my colon, and got the mass out. Then they actually,
Thank God.
pathology, it was stage 0. So, I mean, I didn't have to have any chemo. I didn't have any radiation. But I can tell you, I believe that if I wasn't on the peptides for 2 years, that it would not have happened on the
Yeah.
recovery side of it. So,
That's peptides and warrior blood, man.
yeah,
And
right.
thank God you're okay. I had no idea. I mean,
Yeah,
you seem like I just saw you the other day. Everything's normal, and yeah,
yeah,
it goes to show when you're trying to take care of yourself. It's great.
yeah, and I think coming from the background we come from too,
Right.
we've been in the health space for so long, and we made sure that we weren't, that we've taken care of ourselves too.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I can't prove it, like I said. But full disclosure, I can tell you this: the doctors were amazed, the nurses were amazed, and
Yeah.
they were blown away. So
It's
fortunately,
amazing.
I've been on these peptides, and even today, I mean, I do stem cells now as well because we're involved in the stem cell
I can't
space as well.
wait till that becomes a little bit more, I would say more mainstream and affordable. But
It
I've
is.
actually read a couple books here recently, and it's amazing what's already available out there.
Yeah, and I'm on the balls of my feet now. I mean, literally, I had a little sciatic too that I was dealing with, for a few years,
Uh,
but I got on the stem cells and gone. I mean, completely.
I need that in my neck.
Yeah, right.
Too many football hits. I'm just constantly
Yeah,
crying.
yeah,
I was on a flight. I was telling you earlier, coming from
yeah.
California, and I'm just on the flight. I'm just in massive pain, like, cause I just can't get my neck right. And I'm like,
Right,
can someone just go in there and just like carve it all out? But
right.
I need stem cells. I
Yeah.
need something. Too
Blows
many
my
football.
mind. Yeah, it blows my mind what we have at our disposal now
Yeah.
that and that's the one thing with next gen, what we've really been doing is really focusing on what is those next things. What's
Mhm.
that journey look like? Instead of a 6-month program, we really are building out a lifestyle of 54 to 60 months
Yeah.
that we can manage your path. I mean, we're not doctors, we're really a marketing company, but our team, my chief medical director, he writes all the protocols, and we have Dr. Ian Ellis as well as he's part of
Mhm.
our team now. He's a brilliant, physician as well. He's really defining the dosing scheduling
Mm.
on how you actually the protocols for all the different drugs, and we actually are working on and this is all technology stuff
Yeah.
we've built too of dosing. So we have actually a platform that we're going to launch here in the next 2 months. It'll be live where you'll actually track you every day, and you'll be able to
Excellent.
see a dose. And it's all he built it, so it's all physician built. It's all signed off by a physician. So you're actually getting something from
That's what
where
we
it's not
need.
this crazy stuff on, like you said, on the internet. You get all this stuff going on where we really don't focus. We don't do research only. By the way, I didn't. I've never played in that space. Research only is, you don't know where it's coming from. The one thing we did early on is we got our wholesale license. So we actually
That's
know
right.
where all the API, which is the active pharmaceutical
Yeah.
ingredients, is coming from. We have the chain of custody. It goes to our pharmacies. Our pharmacies compounded. It's all tested. It's all coded. Everything that we are involved in is all,
So this is where operators get in trouble, and I'd love to. I can't wait to get into the supply chain because that is so
Yep,
important. And I think supply chain and compliance. And
yep,
Bob, you mentioned you've been doing this for 4 years. In the first couple years, this was a lot of just
yeah,
learning, and talking and traveling. You've told me,
yeah,
right? And so I think sometimes people think, oh, we're just gonna expand longevity. What I love about, and I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit because you aren't
yeah,
just a marketing company. Like I
yeah,
mentioned earlier, I was on some consultation calls and I'm an extreme personality. Matt will
yeah,
tell you, I wanted GLP, I wanted all the peptides, I wanted TRT. And he's like, no, we're going to
yeah,
start with the fundamental. What's your goal and what you should be doing right now based on your blood labs? And I went back and I thought about that. I'm like, you know what? A sales only, transactional, and maybe even marketing only company would have said yes to all of the things I wanted. Man, that would have been, a couple grand type of ticket right then and there, right? What I love, and don't kill Matt for this, right? but
no, yeah,
but
yeah,
Matt and team were like, no, no, we're going to do the right way, and we're going to build a program and get the cookbook involved, get your
yeah,
movement involved. That is a differentiator, right? It's not, and there's so much hype on using the term longevity, which has been
yeah,
around for the beginning of time. I like about Next Gen MD is you all are outcome based, and you're with us every step of the way. And I can't wait for the rollout because now it's going to be in real time,
yep,
which I think is huge too. Again, ahead of the curve, which I'm really excited about. And speaking of TRT, and I feel like as a man, it's been available, right? And there's
yep,
been more releases and more science. What I'm really excited about what you all are doing is there's this boom because of the availability and education of women's hormones and women's health. And so can you talk to us about that and what you're seeing in that space around women health and women hormone replacement?
yeah, yeah. One of the things that we did that we built too is, we built all the technology. One of the technology stacks we built verticals is what's called a digital storefront. And with the
Yes.
digital storefront, I'm able to be more we're able to now offer more because now we can do what's called synchronicity or async. So
So
synchronous and
Bob, so Bob,
yeah,
so sorry to interrupt you.
yeah, go
For
ahead.
those listening, this
Yeah,
is one of the things where it just maybe sneak away to the bathroom, take your phone with you, and lock the door. This is the moment where you start to truly visualize what is happening in the fitness and wellness space. What Bob has done here, what he's set up. This is why you don't need to necessarily worry about the $1 million knock down four walls and build a clinic. You don't have to do that. Here's how you expand. Here's how you expand wellness and make more money for your family, for your business, and you get better share of wallet. Everyone's
yeah,
tuning in now, Bob. This is huge. So if you don't
yeah.
mind just going through that again and walking us through.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it kind of backs up a little bit too. We actually have built our own EMR, and it's an electronic medical records platform. So it's all HIPAA compliant. Everything we built is all on a HIPAA compliant platform. So the technology side is that we have the EMR. The EMR now gives us it is now we can engage in a clinic. It's built on a clinic platform. So we're able to take it into the gyms. But what's really unique about it, we have what's called a digital storefront. On that digital storefront, we can offer both inside the gym or outside the gym, but through our digital storefront. With that being said, there's some states that don't let you do synchronicity, but we can do async or synchronicity. Async meaning we can actually sync you up and you fill out a survey and you can go through all the questionnaire. And then we built our own practitioner platform. So
Mhm.
we have MPs and we have our chief medical director and doctors that actually review the survey and then they sign off on it. Now, if you don't qualify, then you get denied, right?
Right.
And then if you want to do a Zoom call, then we do synchronicity, which means you get to do a Zoom call and you get with a practitioner where you do one-on-ones and it's all your choice. So that gives us the flexibility. We would do both of them.
Excellent.
With the TRT, we're able to do that too as well. with our system as well. Now we had to get all the licenses to be able to do that as
Right.
well. And we do have all of it, and it goes back to compliance. And we have our chief, counsel actually was the chief counsel for two of the biggest pharmacies in the space, in the peptide space and the GLP-1 space. Matt is our chief counsel. So we've gone through, and Ben, he's our chief counsel, compliance officer. We've done extremely a lot of work on making sure that everything's under compliance. And that's why I say we're a marketing company, because there's certain things that the marketing company can only say. There's a big wall there, right? So when you're talking,
Got
what
it.
you were saying, how you're
Yeah.
describing how Matt was talking, there's, we've spent a lot of time and investment in making sure that all our language is specific in how
Have
we
to be.
speak
Yeah,
to
that makes
you, how
sense.
we engage with you. Now, when you jump over to the practitioner, once we secure you as a client, because we can't say patient, because we're not in the medical side. So now, once you become one of
See.
our clients, now you move over into our practitioner platform. Now, our practitioner platform, we're able to get you in front of a practitioner or through async right away. And
Yeah.
that's where we're different than anybody else. We're able to do it and get you in front. Now you
Oh,
go through your consult, and now they'll guide you on what you should be taking and how you should be dosing and all that.
wow.
But
What I
yeah, it's
love about what you're all doing is that I think there's just been such this tension point, and again, the large portion of it being lack of capital. I can't go
yeah,
build this out within my four walls. I don't have the square footage. I don't have the capital. I can't disrupt my members because they're going to leave. Now you're providing not a physical experience, but a digital experience, right? And if
yeah,
you think about, I mean, look at the kids nowadays. They got the Oculuses on, they
yeah,
got their Meta glasses on. Someone was taking a picture of somewhere I was at the other day. I'm like, are
yeah,
those Metas? And I just couldn't believe it. Oh, we're able to extend your four walls. You are able to extend the gym, the studio's four walls with the digital storefront. And what
yeah,
I love about that from the finance side is we're always wondering, for instance, I think of a HVLP, the big ones out there, some of them, you'll see them on the New Year's Eve parties, right?
yeah.
And what's something that they've been really good at is driving membership. The other areas that they've stayed away from, although I'm hearing some piloting of personal training,
Mhm.
recovery, wellness, they stay away from it because it's historically been a cost center. Let's just focus on signing up memberships.
Yeah.
However, when you don't have to worry about the space, right? Because that's been
Mhm.
the issue is where do they train? Where can we build recovery? When it's
Yeah.
digital, they don't need to worry about it anymore. It's
Ah,
it's a complete different world. It's
yeah,
boundless. And
yeah.
so that's where next gen MD scientific just completely changes the landscape. And you
Mhm.
truly are the pioneer of this new frontier. It's very scary to think about because I just think of all the possibilities. But the new, I just see this. Like I'm at home with my virtual
Yeah,
space talking to one of your docs and having
yeah,
a at home amazing medical experience, preventative,
yeah,
proactive medical experience. I no longer need to go walk in and do all of that, the jazz and the song and dance. It's far more convenient. So you're way ahead of the curve, and it's amazing to hear about. So going into the supply chain,
yeah.
this is where it gets
Mhm.
difficult, more so on your end, right? For those
Mhm.
that want to play in your space, it's very difficult. And I see what you're doing because Lifetime did
Yeah.
something. You build the moat, very
Mhm.
hard to replicate.
Yeah.
Because Bob, I don't think a lot of people want to do what you had to do to get to this
Mhm.
point 4 years later. So kudos
Yeah.
to you.
Thank you, brother.
Supply chain, yeah, no,
Mm.
for sure, it's real.
Yeah.
It's earned. So I was talking about it at the top of it, DEA compliance, quality control,
Mhm.
thinking about fulfillment, consistency, sourcing. You talked about
Yeah.
pharmacies. I mean, I know there's a lot there, but why did you go that wholesaling?
Yeah.
What did you see? Was it owning every aspect of the journey? Was it more cost effective? Was it forced, or was it you saw the opportunity? If I
Yeah.
really want to scale this, I need to be at every aspect. Was it more of I want to make sure it's quality too? What was it for you?
Yeah, everything you just said is
Mhm.
everything that
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what I faced, but early on, because it still is a wild, wild west, the supply chain was the biggest Achilles. How can, getting the right, because at the beginning, a lot of pharmacies converted to be a GLP-1
Right.
pharmacy. They weren't they were just a mom and pop over the counter, walk in and
Compounding.
we compounding, right?
Yeah.
And then this GLP-1 came and that's what we've been fighting all along too, is making sure that the quality that we work
Mhm.
with and vetting the right pharmacies to work with, and going on site and making sure they have all the FDA approvals and that they have all the certifications on the state level. I don't want to go too deep in
Yeah.
all the, governmental stuff, but making sure that you have all the boxes checked. But what I did from the beginning too, Albert, is I brought on a consulting group from day one. I
Yeah.
didn't have the background in this space, but I knew enough as a consultant, and I've been consulting a lot in my life, and I thought, well, let me bring in the right partner. So I
Bring
brought
the
in,
experts.
yeah, I brought in Spink Strategy, which is the number one consulting group in the pharmacy space and the medical space. So I brought them on day one, and they've actually guided me all along and really were coaching me along the way on the
Excellent.
supply chain, because they built pharmacies, and they knew exactly where I should be focusing my attention to. And that was from day one, as that whole supply chain. Without it, and along the way, supply chain has put 50% of the people out of the business because of the fact that
Yeah.
they overpromised and underdelivered,
Yeah.
and they couldn't get the product out. Now you destroyed your whole reputation.
Well, and
Where
even the quality was bad, right? I remember reading some
100%.
stories. It's where they were sourcing it
Yeah.
from. And it wasn't
Yeah.
vetted, and then you're getting some bad stuff even from overseas as you think, oh, it's cost effective. I'm like, that is such a
Nah.
short-term strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Yeah, all of our stuff is tested, coded,
Excellent.
third party tested, everything's coded. So we make sure all the batches are coded. We have COAs on everything that we work with. All our
Excellent.
pharmacies that we work with have all the credentials, and Spinks, they go in and they if we vet a new one or we're going to onboard with a new pharmacy, they go into it, do a full 360 walkthrough and make sure that everything's compliant as well. So they're our partner. They've stayed my partner. They've been along the journey all the way along. But definitely, the supply chain is the most important part of this journey, because of the fact that, like you said, the research only, and there's a lot of it's up in the air right now. I don't want to go deep into that conversation. I'll let everybody do their own research on that. It's not my space. Don't want to be in that space. We stay in the other side.
Yeah. Smart.
We'll never leverage our company against anything that's not compliance driven as
Yeah,
well.
smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
It's a the long game, right? The long-term
Yep.
play. So I'm curious I've been really thinking about this and we've had some chats, right? But from a finance land business model, unit economics, I'm thinking about it from the operator point of view, right? So they're hearing this and like, wow, I can expand my wellness vision and idea in partnership with Next Gen Scientific. But how does it, like, what's the best model? Is that a referral? Is that a rev share? Is that a membership bundle? Is that, we already scrapped the in-house physical clinic, although it's possible if you
Yeah.
have the capital and it makes sense, the
Mhm.
space and all of
Yeah.
that. Is it a
Yeah.
hybrid of the digital and physical? Like, where have you found to be the most lucrative and also providing a great experience and outcome for the client base, the member base?
Yeah, from the beginning, I looked at this from the beginning as being a personal training product, right? I looked at it from that standpoint because we did lose 50% of our trainers during COVID, and we were just coming out. We were in COVID when this got introduced to me, so I really looked at this bringing it back in the gym. And so I started with the technology. First is building a multi-tenant CRM, and you've seen our CM, you've seen it behind the scenes, and you behind the curtain. And so
Yeah.
we started with building a multi-tenant CRM and doing a rev share with the gyms. And that was the first generation, right? That was 1.0 of next gen MD360. And we've done extremely well with that. And we do a rev share with the gyms. But now we're at 4.0, where we actually built everything out. So we have all the verticals technology wise. Now
Excellent.
we build the storefront. Now the storefront, I white label that. I take that, and whether you have a website for your gym, we just let you API.
It looks like your brand. It's you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Your brand, you do
So
it
smart.
all. We API in it. We get your database. We start targeting your database with it. We do we do about 50,000 SMS. You get them every day,
I get them.
but
I
we
like them.
don't we don't over inundate our the gym's members either. We're very conservative on how
Mhm.
we drip our campaigns and how we outreach our campaigns. But we do that. We can use that. We do that if you'd like, or you can do your own. Because now the way I've built all the technology, you can tell me what you want, A, B, C, or D. You pick which one you want to do and how deep you want to get. But we're actually, we're actually doing clinics inside the clubs now. So I mean, without having to do heavy capital, we can convert your recovery centers
Mm.
into longevity clinics,
Yeah.
because now I have, and we just built it. We're launching it right now, where we have our own EMR. So we're able to take it into the gyms now and have a practitioner, a nurse inside the center, and everything's virtual or on all through technology. So
Right.
the investment isn't as great to $1 million anymore. I can convert it, whatever you have. If you have like a recovery center, for like example, a lot of the gyms have recovery centers where they have, your, they don't have IV, but we can do that now. We can
Mhm.
do the IV drips. We can
Right.
bring in the GLP-1. We can do TRT. We can do, the GLP-1 inside the gyms where you don't need as much space anymore. A few, they already have their recovery chairs and they have their, all the different, cryo chambers and red light there. We just bolt right into that, bring in a practitioner that's full time, and now with our technology, we can deploy it, and the capital is real light now. It's called capital light now.
Amazing. Bob, I say it. He's going to be on the show and I'm going to give him a
Yeah.
hard time. And I'm only doing this because you guys are great gents. I respect you both. But Jay Z, if you're watching, I don't know why it's not in this building already. This is outstanding. He's going to kill me for that one. But even EOS, right? I was in a EOS the
Yeah,
other day and I saw some. I
yeah,
mean, they're great with utilizing space, but this is
yeah,
something they need to have. And it sounds like it's
100%.
cost effective and it's easy.
Yeah,
So exciting. On the unit economic side, are
yeah.
you seeing this impact more member acquisition, or is this a retention and frequency play when you do this either in-house an in-house clinic or even the digital storefront? Do you have enough data to say, hey, when you're thinking about your dues tap, not only the share of wallet, because your members are paying for this stuff already, they're just not paying you, right? So
Yep.
that's a solve. Now your
Mhm.
average revenue per member is going up, but from an actual dues tap, is this impacting the top end, or is this impacting the attrition side?
It's actually three parts. So it's actually doing it's actually revenue to start, right? And
Right.
then the retention, but then again, it's bringing back too. So I actually
Ah, I
I
like
take
that.
their current members and then their ex members for the last 24 months.
It's
And that's where that multi-tenant CRM is. So I
excellent.
build each club their own CRM. And so it's got dashboards, it's got back of the house. The operators get to see all the transactions. They get to see all the messaging that goes out every day. And then, so it's
Wow.
really a top line revenue that they
Yeah.
get on the share, but then it's retention because now we're bringing it back into the gym, and we're taking them into the personal training side. Now the personal trainers now get revenue. Now they can start getting revenue for personal training. And then now I take the last 24 months of their ex members, and now I bring them back as well. So I'm hitting those members. And now we're actually
Amazing.
able to tap into their MMS system too, as well, API into that. And all the new members that are onboarding now it's an orientation. Now it's bringing them back into for the trainers now to actually have. So like for a gym chain, I don't want to use the gym chain name, but we have one that, they have 300 clubs. We're
Yeah.
in their corporate clubs. Now we have into their new members. Now every new member now gets tapped. Says
Hyper
now we need you back
personalized.
in. Now let's get you back in. Let's get you into an onboarding with the trainer. Let's get you your orientation, onboarding, and it's all part of a system now.
Amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I never thought about next gen, and I've been loving everything that I've seen. But now that I'm hearing you talk about this, and I'm thinking about the finance side of it and just the experience, you truly are gluing, because
Mhm.
there's a lot of members out there right now that are just so overwhelmed that you got to use 9 different brands,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's peptides or GLPs over here, or sleep or nutrition, movement, right? And it sounds like you found a moat where you're gluing this all together with these gym partners, with these
Yeah.
studio partners. So that's really
Mhm.
exciting. Wow, this has been awesome. I have
Yeah.
one more question because I want to
Okay,
respect your
good.
time, and you just
Yeah,
gave us a
sure.
ton. I can't wait to go through this again.
Sure.
If you had, as we're finishing this out, if you could to say anything or mentor any of the operators, business owners that are listening right now, it's 2026, year of the horse, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot going on, economic potential uncertainty, but also some good signs, some good signaling. We're hearing a lot of this is the year of the retention, as a lot of these franchisees are starting to scale down on square footage, yet many want to expand wellness. They're trying to figure it out. What's your advice to the operator and business owner for this year in 2026?
Yeah, I would say we started with a 1.0 4 years ago, but we're at a 4.0 right now. Take advantage of it now because now the
Yeah.
opportunity is there. I got blessed because I've been in the industry. Some operators that really invested in me as a person on what I offered to them, and they got on board, and they've been great partners. We've been able to involve now and really have a complete package. Real science. It's not voodoo,
Yeah.
it's not Myers oil or anything like that. This is real This is not going anywhere. Back, boutique started with 1.0, got to 2.0 and from 2006 to 2000, let's say 18, 19, before COVID happened. This is now, we're at 4.0.
I
Take
love it.
advantage of it. Don't run from it. Like I told you earlier, there's 7 out of 10 people are taking some kind of a peptide or a GLP-1 inside your club. They're buying it from somewhere. Partner with, if it's not me, partner with someone. I mean,
Yeah.
there's other groups in the space too. What I'm trying to make sure is that the bad actors don't get into our
Yeah.
space
Great
and
call.
we stay away from. But there are some people that are involved, other groups that I respect that are out there. Let them vet me. Don't, if I'm not the right partner with you, vet them as well, and just make sure you do the homework on their compliance as well. So,
Yeah, good for you. That's amazing. No,
oh,
and you've always been just a rising tide lifts all boats kind of guy, right? There's enough to go around for everyone, but
yeah,
you are truly paving the way. I'm telling you, I've had a lot of conversation. You're paving the way, so thank you. This is
that's
where I
it.
cue the Godfather music. Bob, this has been awesome. You always keep it real, raw, and authentic. So I really appreciate you.
Thanks, Albert.
And thank you, by the way, for letting us in a little bit more on the personal side. There's a lot of people that
Yeah,
care about you that I'm sure will listen to this and probably shoot you a text or call because I had no idea. I would
yeah.
have called you. I would have been theirs. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
saying
brother.
that. So thank God you're okay.
Yeah,
We need you around, brother. So
yeah.
don't be scaring
I'm
us.
not going nowhere,
All
baby.
right,
I'm
all
staying
right.
with it. Thanks,
So if
brother.
people want to learn more about Next Gen MD Scientific and 360, how do they get a hold of you? How do they learn more? Is it the website or can they reach
Yeah,
out to you
just
directly?
yeah, reach out directly. They can call me. They can call our office. We have Lindsay. We have Matt. We have everybody available that can answer questions. So please just reach out either through the website or you can give everybody my email address as
Will
well.
do. Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes. Amazing. And as I always say, if you're a fitness or wellness operator who wants better cash visibility, utilization modeling, pricing structure, capital planning, and yes, if you're looking to expand wellness after you get with Bob and you need a finance model, hit me up
Absolutely.
at strategointel.com. This has been another episode of The Owner Seat. I'm your host, Albert Ramos. And as I always mention, episodes are now dropping every Monday and Friday at 8 a.m. Central. Bob, such a pleasure. Can't wait to see you again when I'm up there in Dallas soon.
Thanks, brother.
All right,
Appreciate you.
sir. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.